ask you what you charge and you tell them, what happens next? Do you stand behind your number, or do you start explaining yourself before they even push back? That moment right there, that's where most multi-hyphenate entrepreneurs lose the negotiation before it even starts. Not because their rate was wrong, but because they're not prepared for the conversation that comes after the number. And the reason that moment is harder for most multi-hyphenates specifically, it's not a confidence problem, it's a positioning problem. The client sitting across from you has been trained by the market to compare specialists to other specialists. When you walk in as someone who brings consulting and content strategy and brand direction, they don't have a reference point. And when people don't have a reference point, they default to skepticism about price. Today, we're walking through a negotiation framework built for exactly that situation. Not generic tactics, a framework for how most multi-hyphenate entrepreneurs position multi-dimensional value in a conversation about price, specifically designed for the moment when a client cannot categorize you. So let me ask you something about the way you think about negotiating your rate. Are you asking for money, or are you proposing a solution? Those two things sound similar. They produce completely different conversations. When you're asking, you're waiting for permission. You name a number, and then you hold your breath. The client can feel that. They can sense when the person across from them is not fully behind what they just said. And that gap, however small, is the opening for every pushback that follows. When you're proposing, you have already done something different before the number even comes out of your mouth. You have connected your price to an outcome. You are saying this is what solving your problem actually costs, and that is what it costs if it does not get solved. That's not aggression, that's clarity. For multi-hyphenate entrepreneurs specifically, this reframe matters more than it does for anyone else. Because you're not selling one service, you're selling the integration of multiple areas of expertise that a single service provider literally cannot replicate. The client is not paying for consulting plus creative direction as two separate line items. They're paying because you can see the strategy and execute the language and understand the brand positioning all at once, without any handoff lag, without any translation loss between departments. That is a different category of value, and the negotiation has to reflect that. Before we get into the framework, get honest with yourself about this. Do you actually believe your rate reflects what you bring? Not whether it is fair, not whether it is the market rate, but do you believe it? Because if there is any gap there, the framework amplifies what is already in the room. Walk in certain and it gives you structure. Walk in uncertain and it hands the client a road map for negotiating you down. So before any call, before any proposal goes out, work through 3 questions. What is the client actually getting? Not the service. The result on the other side of your service. What changes for them, and what does that change make possible? And what does it cost them if nothing changes at all? When you can answer those 3 questions without hesitation, your rate becomes the obvious number. Because now it's not about what you charge, it's about what their problem is worth to solve. When you can answer those 3 questions without hesitation, your rate becomes the obvious number. Because now it's not about what you charge, it is about what their problem is worth to solve. Here is the 3-step negotiation playbook. Step 1, do your homework. How much do you actually know about the client before the conversation starts? This is not about being over-prepared. It's about the kind of preparation that gives you something specific to anchor your rate to, rather than a number you're just hoping they accept. As a multi-hyphenate entrepreneur, your pre-call homework has 3 parts that are different from what a single service provider needs to do. First, know what the market gaps pays for consulting, for strategic advisory, for creative direction, for brand positioning as standalone engagements. This matters because when a client challenges your rate, you can speak to the integrated value with real numbers behind you. You're not guessing at worth, you're grounding the conversation in what each layer of your expertise would cost them if they hired 3 separate people to cover the same ground. Second, research this client specifically enough to know which of your services is most immediately relevant to their problem. Walk into a negotiation without knowing which hat you're leading with, and you end up stumbling through a pricing conversation that confuses the client before it even starts. If their most urgent problem is clarity on positioning, you lead with strategy. If they're stalled at execution, you lead with output. Integrated value follows once they trust the most immediate thing. You earn the full picture after you solve the first problem clearly. Third, know your walkaway number before you get on the call, and not a range. a specific number that represents the minimum engagement where the work is genuinely worth your time and your capacity. Multi-hyphenate entrepreneurs often lose negotiations, not because they ask too high, but because they don't know where they would stop. When you know your floor, you negotiate it from the top down with actual limits behind you, not a vague discomfort the client can sense and press on. Step 2, lead with outcome. Here's a shift that changes the entire shape of a pricing conversation. Most multi-hyphenates pitch their services. They explain what they do, they describe the deliverables, they list what the client will receive, and then they name a price at the end of that list. That structure trains the client to think about cost per deliverable, which means they're comparing your rate per hour or per project to other providers who offer similar deliverables, which is exactly the comparison that disadvantages you as someone who brings multiple dimensions of expertise simultaneously. The shift is to lead with the outcome and anchor there before you mention anything about deliverables or process. What does the client look like after working with you? What problem is fully resolved? What is now possible that was not possible before? What does that charge cost them in real dollars, real time, or real missed opportunity if they try to solve it without your specific combination of expertise? When you anchor to outcome first, the rate is not about price for a service. It's the cost of that transformation. And the comparison point is no longer other service providers. The comparison point is what does it cost to stay stuck? For multi-hyphenates, the way to make this concrete is to name what the integration gives the client that they cannot source elsewhere, not abstractly, specifically. You move from strategy to execution in the same engagement without a handoff gap. You keep the measures consistent across all of the work because you hold all of it at once. You can identify problems in adjacent areas that they were not asking about because you see the whole system. That is the value that does not appear in a competitor rate sheet. When you can articulate that in the context of their specific problem, the rate conversation shifts from defense to confirmation. One more thing on leading with outcome. Timing matters. Naming the outcome connection before you name the rate, not after. The sequence is, here is what we are solving, here is what solving it changes for you, and here is what that costs. In that order, every time. Step 3, hold the number. The rate conversation is not over when you name that number. That is often where it actually starts. The most common thing that happens when a client pushes back is that the multi-hyphenate entrepreneur rushes to justify. They add deliverables. They explain their process in more detail. They offer to adjust scope before anyone asks them to. All of that movement communicates one thing to the client. This person was not sure about their number. Holding the number is not rigidity, it's conviction. And it looks different from just repeating yourself. When a client says this is more than they expected, the right move is to return to the outcome, not to defend the rate. To return to what we established together before the number came up. What I want to make sure we are both clear on is what solving this actually changes for you. You are not justifying, you are re-anchoring. When a client asks you to come down, you have a real choice. You can reduce scope in a way that still makes the engagement worth your time, or you can hold the original scope at the original rate. What you cannot do without cost is reduce the rate without reducing the scope. That communicates that the original number was not real, and the client will carry that into every future conversation you have with them, every renewal, every expansion discussion. The silence after you name your rate is not a problem to feel. It's the other person processing. Multi-hyphenate entrepreneurs who are not used to receiving their rate without a pushback tend to fill that silence with concessions they don't need to make. Name the rate, let them respond first. The client who is serious will come back with a real question or a yes. The client who is never going to pay that rate will tell you faster than any amount of explanation ever could. There will be clients you lose because they cannot understand the value of what multidimensional expertise actually gives them. This is not a failed negotiation. This is a filter working correctly. The client who understands what you bring are the clients who use it well, pay without resentment, and come back with bigger problems. Those are the clients worth holding the number for. Now let me make this concrete with the scenario. A prospective client comes to a multi-hyphenate entrepreneur who does brand strategy and content development. The client needs a brand refresh and a content strategy to support a product launch. They ask what it costs. The underprepared version plays out like this. The multi-hyphenate names a number. The client says this is more than they budgeted for. The multi-hyphenate explains the process in more detail, lists out more deliverables to justify rate, and either does more work for the same price or accepts a lower rate to close the deal. By the end of the call, the client has paid less and the multi-hyphenate is already resentful. The prepared version plays out differently. Before naming any number, the multi-hyphenate asks the client what a clear brand and aligned content strategy would actually change for them going into this launch. The client explains the gap. They have been inconsistent, the audience is confused, and the launch window is short. The multi-hyphenate connects the solution to that specific cost. Then they name the rate. If the client pushes back, they return to the outcome. What we are solving here is the clarity gap before your launch window closes. A launch with a fragmented brand message costs you more than this engagement does. You're not rushed to add or subtract. They hold. The outcome is different, not because the number changed. It is different because the frame changed. The client is no longer comparing a rate to other providers. They are deciding whether solving the specific problem before their specific deadline is worth the investment. That is a different question with a different answer. 3 mistakes that kill multi-hyphenate negotiations. First is apologizing for your reach before you even name a rate. Qualifying your number with something like, I know I do several different things, signals to the client that your range is a liability you are managing rather than the differentiator they should be paying for. Do not apologize for it. You lead with it. The second is itemizing before anchoring. Listing every deliverable before you anchor to outcome trains the client to price each line item separately. By the time you name a total rate, they've already done the wrong math and arrive at a different number in their head. The third is negotiating past the yes. Some clients will accept your rate without any pushback at all. Multi-hyphenate entrepreneurs who are not used to that sometimes keep talking and introduce doubt that was not there. Name the rate, let them respond first. If the answer is yes, move to the next steps. The negotiation is not about the number. It's about whether the client understands what they are actually buying and whether you believe in it enough to hold it. Multi-hyphenate entrepreneurs who struggle with negotiations are not struggling because they ask too much. They're struggling because the frame that makes the number make sense is not in place yet. Once the frame exists, the number stops being something to defend. If you want to take that work further and build out your full value framework, your rate structure, and how to position everything you bring to the table as a multi-hyphenate entrepreneur, this is exactly what we dig into the business strategy intensive consultation. Head to artistjardins.com and let's figure out what makes sense for your business. If there's a specific part of the negotiation conversation you are still navigating, drop it in the comments. I read every one. Hit the like button if this gave you something to work with. Subscribe if you haven't already done so, and I will see you in the next